Shine bright up all night, we're never slowing down. Fall in love, drunk mistakes, we're bound to hit the ground. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now. Do it like it's only today. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. If for a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. If for a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this. Young blood made of gold, a mind you can't control. Running wild, can't come down. My head is in the clouds. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now. Do it like it's only today. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. If for a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. If for a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this. Shine bright up all night, we're never slowing down. Fall in love, drunk mistakes, we're bound to hit the ground. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now. Do it like it's only today. We got a party for a life. On the day we are together again. On the day we are together again. I will pull you in close like a hoop with no end. On the day we are together again. We will share the same table again. We will share the same table again. I will pass you the salt, the candlelight will bend when we share the same table again. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will stop for a snack at the taco truck stand when we walk around the block hand in hand. Someday we will go back to work. Someday we will go back to work. May we be among people who respect our work. Someday we will go us alive. To the healers who keep us alive. A toast to your courage, knowledge and light. To the healers who keep us alive. And the ones we love who are gone. And the ones we love who are gone. We remember the stories and we sing the songs for the ones we love who are gone. And on the day we are together.
Well, hello everyone. Hello. It's good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. Happy New Year to each and every single one of you. I hope truly this is the best year for you so far in this upcoming year. Yes, today is our second year anniversary on this channel. So thank you all for making it terrific. Every one of you helping us get through each of these cases. It's been a wild, wild ride, to say the least. This is not going to be that long of a live, but I do want to do this before we start on the Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerrera case later today. I do want to bring you this information. It's good to see you all in chat. Thank you all for the kind comments and the wishes. I appreciate it. So remember Carroll County, Virginia. There was this child that was unidentified, and they thought the child had been there for at least 5 years. And Summer had only been missing at that point about 2 years. So we didn't really think it was Summer, but we have good news, thank God. A little boy by the name of Logan Bowman, who went missing in 2003, has been positively 100% DNA matched, identified. And it's a long story. The mother, and here we go. What do I always tell you? The stepfather, the step parent, or what it actually wasn't the stepfather. I take that back. It is the mother's boyfriend at the time, who they were charged as much as they could charge them. And I don't know how long he was sentenced for. I believe they were both sentenced for 15 years, but they never knew where Logan Bowman was. So we're going to talk about it. Got a lot to cover here in a little bit of time here. Let me pop some stuff up. We'll talk about the case as well. And there is going to be more charges, I do think, very, very soon. All right, here we go. Bear with me 1 second.
And it helps.
After 20 years of searching for his 5-year-old son, Wayne Bowman can finally give his little boy a proper burial. This comes after the Carroll County Sheriff's Office announced Thursday the remains of a child found in a wooded area last year are Logan Bowman.
Took everyone working together to get those DNA profiles and finally get a full 100% match to both parents.
Logan was reported missing out of Grayson County back in 2003. His disappearance was not just impacting his father, but the entire community.
Not having some remains to lay to rest, it just has really caused a lot of sleepless nights for the community and members of law enforcement. So we're grateful for that.
Grateful that now Logan's father has the answers he's been looking for and a chance at justice for his son.
Get what justice when it comes out in trial. We hope they are. I can't say they're going to be found guilty or nothing, but ain't nothing I can do about that. That's justice system, and we hope and pray that somebody gets charged for something. That'd mean a lot.
Logan's mom, Cynthia Davis, pleaded guilty to child neglect and murder in connection with his disappearance. Her boyfriend at the time, Dennis Schermerhorn, was convicted of child neglect. Carroll County Sheriff Kevin Kemp says additional charges are expected.
Bless this little baby's heart. Didn't get a chance at life. Didn't get a chance. And we cover these cases every single day. Life is so precious. And this child was neglected. You can tell. You just
In Carroll
can't.
County, Imari Williams, WFXR News.
Best reviews as an unbiased.
So the sheriff says we didn't give up on it. Thank God for that. Wayne Bowman speaks on getting closure after son's disappearance. And he states that he was a good kid. A lot of people loved him. That's all I could say out there in this world. Because a lot of people tell me about him and it helps, said Wayne Bowman, which is the father. And it says, after 20 years of searching for his 5-year-old son, 20 years of not knowing where your son is, Wayne Bowman can finally give his little boy the proper burial. He says the church he attended already has a tombstone with his picture on it. It feels good. I can go on. I know where he's at now. Sorry. All right, sorry. I don't have to worry where he's at. I know it hurts, but it's going to be okay. We have to go on. One day I will see him in heaven, his father says. This comes after Carroll County Sheriff Office announced Thursday that the remains of the child found in the wooded area along Iron Ridge Road in September of last year are Logan Bowman. Quote, it took everyone's work together to get those DNA profiles and getting 100% match to both parents, said Sheriff Kevin Kemp with the Carroll County office. And here is a picture of Wayne Bowman, who is the father, and apparently he has other kids because these are his grandkids, so that's good. Quote, they've done it. It's something you have to learn to grow with. The hardest things you have to learn is to forgive someone for what they've done. Logan was reported missing out of Grayson County back in 2003. His disappearance did not just impact the father, but the entire community. Quote, not having some human remains to lay to rest has caused a lot of sleepless nights for members of the community and members of law enforcement. We're so grateful for that, said Sheriff Richard Vaughn with the Grayson County Sheriff's Office. Vaughn said he's grateful that now Logan's father has the answers he's been looking for and a chance for justice for his son. They will get what justice they can when it comes out in trial. I can't say that they're going to be guilty, but that's nothing I can do about that. It's our justice system. We just hope and pray that God, that they will get charged for something that would mean a lot. Logan's mom, Cynthia Davis, pleaded guilty to child neglect and murder in connection with the disappearance. Her boyfriend at the time, Dennis Schermerhorn, was convicted of child neglect. Carroll County Sheriff Kevin Kemp says additional charges are expected. So that is good. That's good. 1 second. Sorry, these cases, they get to you. They do. All right. So I see that Roanoke Times that you sent me. It's it's got to have like a subscription on it or something to that effect. It won't. You got to buy like a subscription to it. All right. Let me show you something else here. So we know that this baby has been found, and he can finally be at rest. This child was on NamUs as an identified child remains, and he is no longer on NamUs, which that's one more name that a family knows where their child is. It gives me hope for summer as well. It's been 2 years. This family waited 20 years. So there's that. All right, let me show you guys another thing here.
Missing 20 years ago.
And just 1 week ago, we learned the remains of 5-year-old Logan Bowman were identified. Joshua Davis joins us from Galax, Virginia, with more from Logan's father.
We're standing along Iron Ridge Road, the approximate area where Logan Bowman's body was found just a little over a year ago. His dad says he'll finally be able to put his son to rest.
When they first found it, something told me that it was Logan.
On Christmas Day 2002, Wayne Bowman dropped his 5-year-old son Logan off with his mother, Cynthia Davis. He says that was the last time he saw his son.
So they found, or they positively identified Logan. It came out, I believe, December 22nd. So imagine not knowing where your son is. You drop him off at Christmas to his mother's and her boyfriend's house. They lived in a trailer park some miles away. They always knew, and they were convicted of child neglect, and they charged him with everything they could, but they'll be getting some more sentences hopefully soon.
After decades of searching, Logan's body was discovered in a wooded area in Galax, Virginia, along Iron Ridge Road, just a few miles from his father's home.
You can't change things. You wish you could. You wish you could. I wish I could have never took him home on Christmas Day. Wouldn't you be mad if your 5-year-old kid was gone? I said, that's normal for a parent. I said, it hurts. But what can we do? Just leave it in God's hands.
Logan's mother and her then boyfriend, Dennis Skimmerhorn, were both.
They look like a pair, don't they? They look like a pair. Let me take these captions off. Here is the mother. I don't know, how long they'd been separated with the father. He looks like an absolute junkie. And, you can tell. Why do they look familiar? Because I think they all kind of have that rough look about them. You know what I mean? It changes something, Rach. It changes something. And, I don't know what it is that it changes, but it does change something. They have a look about them. It's very weird.
Charged in connection to his disappearance. Now, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office says new charges may be on the way. Wayne says he finally has some closure, but it doesn't erase the last 20 years of waiting for Logan to come home.
He never met a stranger. He was always happy with no matter who he met. He's always smiling, always cutting up. I can't say what's going to happen right now, but we just take it one day at a time and see what's going to happen.
I did reach out to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office for comment about the investigation. However, they said there's no further comment they have at this time. In Gay Lakes, Virginia, I'm Joshua Davis for WXII 12 News.
And we have been following this investigation for several years now. You can read more about the case on our website, WXII12.com.
All of the links I have provided in the description below for people in the chat and for the replay crew. You can find all of these in the description below. Let's see here. Here is when it came out last year. There was, I don't know, did Don do DNA? Don and Candace was talking about doing, submitting their DNA. I don't know if they did or not, but this was when this first came out. It says human remains found in Carroll County, Virginia have sparked an investigation by local police. According to the report in Carroll County Sheriff's, the remains were discovered by a citizen on September 6th in the Iron Ridge area. Officials say the scene was processed for evidence and that the state medical examiner was contacted. Updates will be provided by Carroll County Sheriff's Office as they become available. What'd I do? 1 second. There we go. Okay. And this was the press release on September 6, 2022. Carroll County Sheriff's Office in Carroll County Fire Rescue was dispatched to the Iron Ridge area in Carroll County in reference to a citizen that believed that they had found human remains. Sheriff's Office patrol units arrived at the scene and began investigating, at which time the Criminal Investigation Division was also requested. The scene was processed by CID and potential evidence was collected. A submission to the State Medical Examiner Office was submitted. The Sheriff's Office is currently working closely with the State Medical Examiner Office. Updates will be provided when available. So that's when it first came out. He's got a lot of them. What did Cram say? Wouldn't they, during all the prison sentences they had? Yeah, I think they would have his DNA, but I think he may have had to volunteer. Any word how his remains was stumbled upon? Okay, so what happened was a gentleman had just purchased this property, just purchased it, and he was walking around his property and there was like a bag and a barrel And someone's remains after 20 years, especially a child's, um, but I guess, the stuff that was found around it, I believe there was like some type of blanket that was found around this as well, but he immediately called, and it was human remains. Let's see here. So Othram, Othram Inc., which is a private company in Texas that specializes in forensic grade uh, DNA and forensic genetic genealogy. The company was able to get a full DNA profile and compare them to family members. And what else does it say? Bowman was reported missing in January of 2003. I wonder, this is a newer case that we haven't dug too deep into. However, what gets me is, he dropped his son off at Christmas, and the child was not reported missing until January. That's weird. That Yeah, guys, please hit that thumbs up. It is the way that this gets out into the world, and I would really appreciate it. The lab is the only one that I know of in the U.S. that did Brian Kohlberger's too. Oh, interesting. If I remember correctly, I thought that they did take both Don and Candace's DNA in one file when they found the other child's remains in Virginia. I'm not 100% sure. I do remember. Yeah, I know Don saying that a lot of times, like kids are on Christmas break right now. They start school in just a few days. So I'm wondering if it's like a Christmas break thing, or I don't know how they shared custody. Things were a lot different in 2003 than they are today, right? There was no, there was barely, not everyone had even cell phones back then. And if they did, they were great big ones. There was no social media, no iPads, nothing like that, right? So, what else we got here? So it says the sheriff's office of Grayson County Sheriff's Office, Virginia, stated police, Galax Police Department, Virginia Medical Examiner Office, National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, Team Adam, National Missing and Unidentified Person System, NAMUS, United States Secret Service, Virginia Probation, Parole, and U.S. Custom and Border Protections for their assistance in this case. He said, "I want people to know that we didn't give up." He told the news, as you may not know, every little thing going on, it may be quiet for a little while, but this is proof that just because you don't hear something every single week, it doesn't mean there's not work being done. And when he says that, that gives me hope for summer. It gives me hope for summer. Who stayed in the property? The dude bought it and found the remains. I don't know whose property it was prior. The only thing I know, and did this person, did this boyfriend and the mother, did they have, were they did they know people on this property, or did they just randomly put this child here? Yeah, live block. Yeah. Candace is in the hospital. Is she really in the hospital, or is she taking photos in the hospital? Who knows? I didn't hear she was in the hospital. I heard Grandis was having some type of heart problems or stroke or something. I can't remember what it was, but these people lie so much, it's hard to know. Um, one second. All right. Hold on, I might have something else here. Let me see if it'll pull up. Okay, here's the MURDER trial we can talk about briefly. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. All right. This was written in 2004, so it may give us some more answers. Lack of boy's body won't stop murder trials. Death loomed early for Logan Bowman, who weighed just 3 pounds, 15 ounces at birth. So it sounds like, that Logan he had a low birth weight, which can be due to, drugs. The premature infant's father, Wayne Bowman, remembered holding his son in the palm of his hands and dressing him in clothes from a Cabbage Patch doll. Quote, I called him my little miracle baby, end quote, Bowman said. 7 years later, Bowman is hoping for another miracle. Logan had been missing for a year. Repeated searches have turned up nothing, but his father still clings to hope that somewhere and somehow Logan is safe. As long as they don't show you a body, you've got to keep it in the back of your mind that the boy is still alive, Bowman said. See, this is what a normal, innocent parent thinks. They never lose hope. They never lose hope. They're not saying 3 hours that, I'll see her in the resurrection and she's, gone. They don't say that. Let's see if I can make this bigger for y'all. All right. Authorities are not so optimistic. They have filed murder charges against Logan's mother, Cynthia Lee Davis, and her boyfriend, Dennis Smikerhorn. The two people who reportedly last saw the 5-year-old in the mobile home on the outskirts of Galax. Davis told authorities on January 8, 2003, that the boyfriend took her son after he suffered hot water burns and left him in care of relatives. Oh my God. I did not know this. Oh my God. So it sounds like he was being abused by this boyfriend. That's crazy. Okay. And left him in the care of relatives, according to early testimony. But Davis waited until January 26 to report him missing. So a full month it took to report him missing. He went missing okay. He was dropped off on Christmas Eve. Wow. And they didn't report him missing till January 26th. but then the boyfriend was telling police that it was Davis who had left the boy and returned without him. I absolutely believe it was the boyfriend that probably did something. Hampered by confusion and delay, investigators started cold down a trial that will soon lead to Grayson County courtroom. Trials for the both was scheduled for February 13th and March 18th, respectively, will raise a question rarely posed in a Virginia courtroom. Can someone be convicted of murder when there is no direct evidence, a corpse, that a murder was committed? Well, they were charged with child neglect. What I can't remember. They was charged with something else too, but it wasn't murder, I don't think. It can be an autopsy photograph of a bullet-ridden body, or the chilling testimony of an eyewitness, or perhaps a confession from a killer. In most murder trials, one thing is obvious: someone died. But providing what is a given in most cases could be the greatest challenge for Grayson County Commonwealth Attorney J.D. Bolt in the upcoming trial of the two, according to the interviews with lawyers, prosecutors, and law professors. Under Virginia law, every conviction requires proof of a corpse, and so where am I? Essentially, proof of a criminal act, whether it's the body of a murdered man, the signature on a forged check, or the charred remains of a house burned down. But prosecutors need not shown a corpse to prove what is it? Corpus? How do you pronounce it? So delicti, corpus delicti, in murder cases. Courts in Virginia and everywhere have ruled as long as they establish through convincing circumstantial evidence that a person was unalived. A jury may properly take into account that unlikelihood that the person would disappear voluntarily, the disappearance being circumstantial evidence entitled to the same weight as bloodstains and concealment of evidence. The Virginia Supreme Court ruled in the case of Stephen Epperly. So that's interesting. That's that's exactly what I think they should do. Oh, thank you, Always, Miss Always Right, Ryan. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much. And SL, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That is so kind of you. I appreciate both of your support. And if you was one of the 5 that received the membership, please give SL some thank yous and some love. Okay. So, they couldn't prove a murder happened, but, I guess they proved child neglect, which, hold on, I want to see something here. Suzanne says, are we talking about the sweet looking boy on the front page? He was found, had he passed or alive. Suzanne, he went missing when his father dropped him off at his mother's house, his mother's trailer, and the mother had a boyfriend, and he was dropped off Christmas Eve of 2003, and he was said that they had not said anything until January. It's over a month before they said he was missing, and his remains was found last year, but he was positively identified this past January, just literally less than 2 weeks ago. So it's a 20-year. It was a 20-year cold case. They had no idea where this little baby was. Which they proved that there was child neglect. Why can't they do this for, in my opinion, something like Don and Candace? Why not? Maybe they can't prove at this point that, or maybe they don't feel confident enough in the case, not having sufficient evidence that Summer is missing. But I think they could easily. You're very welcome, Suzanne rather. But I feel confident that they could prove neglect without any problem whatsoever. Let's continue here. All right. Epperly was found guilty in 1980 and sentenced to life in prison for unaliving a Radford University student whose body was never found. It was the state's first murder conviction in which there was no body, no eyewitness, and no confession. Still, the lack of a body makes the prosecution's job much tougher. It adds an additional level of practical difficulty, said and a professor at law at the University of Virginia. This prosecution is going to have the burden of presenting evidence that explains the absence of a body, as well as going to establish that the accused committed the murder. Just because someone is missing, jurors might think doesn't mean he or she is dead. Now, I think it's easier to prove, in my opinion, that a 5-year-old is not going to. I mean, you could say that they walked off, I suppose, which is possible, but they can't just get in a car and start a new life like adults, right? How many people wrote off Tom Hanks in Castaway? Salem Commonwealth's attorney Fred King said that obviously is a Hollywood version, but there are in many cases in which people drop out of sight for a number of reasons. The case for prosecutors is to find enough circumstantial evidence to prove murder in the absence of a body, said Everett Shockley, an attorney who prosecuted Epperly. In Epperly's case, shockingly, called witnesses to testify that the victim, Hall, was a shy woman, unlikely to accompany the defendant to a Claytor Lake cabin, which prosecutors said that she was beaten to death after refusing to have CX. And it was equally unlikely family members testified that Hall would just disappear and cut off all contact with the loved ones. So, they build this on circumstantial evidence, her behaviors, her habits, all of this, in my opinion, they could do something like this for the Wells. Because I do believe that they know a hell of a lot more than they're telling us, for sure. So, I mean, something could be coming right around the bend. We never know. But again, I think unless Summer is found, I don't think that they're ever going to prosecute them. I mean, they might, but I think they may prosecute them for something, again, like child neglect, in my opinion. All right. Where was I? Okay, the case was bolstered further by the discovery of Hall's bloody clothes, and when a tracking dog led police to Hall's car to the doorstep of Epperly's home 2 miles away, the defendant infamously remarked, "That's a damn good dog," end quote. Even with the evidence, shockingly was confronted with the dilemma that all prosecutors face in murder cases with no bodies. When, if he took the case to trial only to get an acquittal or a light sentence, and then Hall's body was discovered later along with the crime scene evidence rather, uh, that strengthened the case against Epperly. Double jeopardy would prevent a second trial. With Suzanne Morphew's body, we got to remember Suzanne Morphew. Whenever, they charged Barry, right? We had no idea where Suzanne was. And it is just by the grace of God, and she was found in the middle of nowhere, right? They had dropped the charges. Barry got to go home a little while, right? But now that they found Suzanne's body, tick tock, right? Tick tock. All right. So you don't ever want to. You might be able to charge them with something, but without the right evidence, you want them to get the max possible. All right. What if he took? Okay, I already read that. That's always a risk. A young Commonwealth attorney at the time, shockingly, was advised by the prosecutor to wait and see if his case got stronger, but he worried about the evidence in hand getting weak, and his hand getting weaker. It's a balancing test, he said. I was very concerned because I knew I had at least 30 witnesses that could be scattered to the wind if I waited for the body to be recovered, and their recollection would not be too hot. The calculated risk paid off. More than 2 decades later, the location of Hall's body remains a mystery, and Epperly is still in prison. Why would a mother want to kill her child? It is a question that prosecutors need not answer in the case of Cynthia Lee Davis. After first charging Davis with child neglect and the disappearance of Logan Bowman, which is who we're talking about today for those of you just coming in, Grayson County Commonwealth Attorney J.D. Bolt obtained an indictment in July that also accuses her of felony unaliving. Unlike first-degree unaliving, in which includes malice and premeditation, felony unaliving only requires proof that someone committed a felony which resulted in the unintended death. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So if you charge someone with first degree murder, I say unaliving, you have to show that there's malice and premeditation by Virginia statute. But if you charge with felony unaliving, you only have to show proof that someone committed a felony that resulted in an unintended death, which I'm sure, why can't Hawkins County do this, right? I mean, it's a different state, and I'm sure that the laws are probably fairly similar. You could charge, in my opinion, you could charge the Wells with something like felony unaliving, which is the neglect that led to someone dying. It's worth a shot. And then you could always, if she was found, later, you could charge them with first degree MURDER, in my opinion. An example is selling DRUGS that later cause a fatal overdose. Felony unaliving is punishable by 5 to 40 years in prison. And that is Virginia, by the way. Bolt declined to comment on the case earlier this week. Defense attorney for David Schumerhorn could not be reached. Coughlin, a UVA law professor, said that felony unaliving charge makes Bolt's job a little easier by allowing him to argue that Davis had a hand in her son's unaliving simply by letting him remain missing for 3 weeks without seeking help. Right? So, they didn't, you don't tell someone that your child has been missing for 3 to 4 weeks. Well, obviously something's cooking here, right? So they was able to get her that way, it seems. All right, it eases some of their, okay, I already read that, I think. Let me find where I lose my spot. I have to flip over and I lose my spot. In addition to equating a missing person to a murder, one is easier. Legal experts said when the victim is too young to effectively plan and carry out a voluntary disappearance, which is what we were talking about earlier. It's harder for, a child, a 5-year-old child, 10-year-old child, they just can't pack up and start a new life. They can't work. They don't got a car, they're kids. When a child disappears, that is a completely different set of circumstances because some human beings have an obligation to protect that child and preserve his life and well-being. This is not the case where you can say that the boy just up and left. While Davis was reportedly made no confession, prosecutors are likely to question why they waited 3 weeks before reporting Logan missing. I would certainly think that the prosecution would try to make a lot of headway off of that fact. The question, however, is that additional evidence Bolt has to support the felony unaliving charges. When the pair was indicted in last July, Grayson County Sheriff Jerry Wilson said there had been no major breaks in the case, just a decision to seek a more serious charge. The most detailed public account of the case emerged from a preliminary hearing in April, although the hearing was fraught and unanswered questions and conflicting stories told Davis and Schumerhorn to authorities. A judge ruled that the evidence was sufficient to support neglect charges. I think it's pretty easy for them to, show neglect. I heard on an interview or report that allegedly one of the new houses that DW was possibly working on had gotten new concrete poured. That's been alleged. I don't know personally, but that's interesting. I have tried to find out where you can see where the grand jury in Tennessee meets. Can't find it. There's the grand jury. There's secret grand juries. Children and elderly are the most vulnerable in our society besides those with the amen, JJM. Exactly. And those are the ones we should protect. Absolutely. Shannon, thank you so much for 16 months. You are an OG, my friend. Happy New Year's to you as well. Thank you so much for your support. Gina Snap, welcome to the family. Thank you so much for investing in our channel. I appreciate you tremendously. Means a lot, truly. However challenging such cases might be, prosecutors should not be prohibited from seeking an unalive charge when there is no body recovered. Courts have held in affirming the conviction of the leader Charles Manson in the case of one of his victims whose body was never found. The California Court of Appeals put it this way, quote, the fact that a murderer may successfully dispose of the body of the victim does not entitle him to an acquittal. That is one form of success for which society has no reward. You know, and it's that fine balance of, you know, innocent until proven guilty, and you know, you want a body at all costs, you know, if possible, but there are cases where there's so much circumstantial evidence and you don't have remains. Well, does that mean this person should get off and never have to, you know, face accountability? It's a balance. Christmas Day 2002 was the last time Wayne Bowman saw his son. Although Logan weighed just 30 pounds, the 5-year-old pushing 6 seemed as healthy and active that day as he always had been. How much did Summer weigh? Does anyone know? Once they ruled out wandering off and it was turned to foul play, they started to build the case, in my opinion. They could have cleaned up the DNA from the dog attack. Does anyone know how much Summer weighed? 40 pounds? This boy was almost 6, and he weighed 30 pounds. And you can just tell, listen, I don't mean to be judgmental, but it's judgmental. I'm just going to be honest. You can tell if a child has been taken care of or not. You can. Generally, not only the way that they're dressed or whatever, but by usually their dental will say a lot. I was trying to find a picture. Okay. Let me show you this real quick. You know, cute little boy. Lord, I'm emotional today. All right. Cute little boy, right? But you can tell by his dental. Summer was very thin, but this little boy, he was almost 6. And he only weighed 30 pounds, they're saying. Failure to grab diagnosis is common abuse. Yes, sure is. Sure is. Because they don't get the square meals a day, right? They don't get all of the nutrients. Their parents don't give them, you know, vitamins, supplements, anything to, you know, help out with anything. So, just sad, man. One second, I've got so much stuff pulled up here. Bear with me, I need to find that again. Guys, we're going to be talking here in a little bit about the Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerrera case, and someone just sent me something very interesting. They did a really good job working on it, so got a lot to talk about that in a little bit. I will be live at, I think, 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay. After unwrapping his gifts at Bowman's Carroll County home, Logan hardly had time to play with his toys before his father drove him across town to the trailer where Davis and Schumerhorn were living. Davis had custody of Logan, with Bowman allowed to have the boy for the weekends and holidays. Summer weighs 40 pounds of the same. So he had full custody. Apparently, she got the custody taken away at some point. Yeah, I'm going to grab a break before this. I'm going to close this up and when we talk about Soto. All right. So he had custody. She got weekends and holidays. The following Friday, when Bowman would have picked up his son for the weekend, Davis called and left a message saying that the boy was sick, Bowman said during a recent interview in his home. A week after that, Bowman showed up at the trailer to find a note on the door. Logan was still sick, the note said, and Davis had taken him to pick up some medicine. Repeated calls to the trailer went unreturned. Countless knocks on the door went unanswered. Finally, Bowman confronted Davis January 26 at a friend's home. Quote, I was getting a little upset, end quote, Bowman said. It was only then, he said, that he admitted to not having seen Logan since January 8th. According to earlier testimony, Davis said that Schumerhorn had then taken the boy to a relative's home, and from there he had went to his father's care. Bowman angrily rejected that explanation and threatened to call police. Davis then reported her son missing. Within hours, she and Schumerhorn were in jail on neglect charges, and authorities were searching for Logan. In the year since, this was written in 2004, by the way, now we're 20 years, and we finally have a resolution, but we're just trying to figure out what was happening during this case. In the year since, Bowman has kept his son's room in the same condition. It was where he last slept there. He also held on Logan's Christmas presents, some of them still in boxes. You hope and you pray that he'll come back so that he can have it, his father says. As hard as it's been to hope that Logan is alive, while also preparing mentally for the news that he is unalive, Bowman has done something else that many people would have had a difficult time doing. A deeply religious man, he has already forgiven Davis and Schumerhorn for whatever they did to his son. Better man than I. I have to, he said. If Logan's gone to heaven, then someday, if God forgives me for what I have done in my life, he'll give him back to me, end quote. For now, Bowman hopes that upcoming trials might offer some clues of his son's fate. If not, he will be forced to wait for that day, if it ever arrives, when authorities come to say that the body has been found. If we had to bury him, at least I'd know where he's at, Bowman said. Right now, I don't know where he's at. with a grave site to go to, Bowman would finally be able to fully grieve his son's death, a death as premature as his birth. Ugh. Evil people. Evil people. What I might do, I might see if I can get his if I can get their interrogations and see if I can get some court information and stuff. So forgiveness is a must, but never easy to do. I don't know how anyone forgives someone like that. Not a kid. An adult is one thing, but a kid, I don't know. Don't know. All right, guys. So I will be live at 3 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be talking about the Savannah Soto and Michael Guerrera case. It's getting there's a lot of craziness going on in this case. A lot, to say the least. Happy New Year, Miss Chewy. Good to see you. That's right. Did y'all see Candace was in the hospital with RSV? She has a new YouTube channel, Candy Bly 4. Let's look. Let's see what Candy Bly has. Candy Bly 4. Is it Candy? Candybly 4. I'm not finding it. Here. Let's try this. There's Candace Bly. Here she is. There's the Candace Bly, but I can't find the Candy Bly. Oh, thank you, None of Your Business. Appreciate it. Thank you. I can't find that channel. Yeah, it must be really, really new. Huh. I don't know if I find it all. Media manager stopped posting. Oh, really? Didn't hear that. The person said Candy Bly 4. I don't know. That's what Evil Exists posted. Hold on, let me see if sometimes I can find it on my phone. I can got a different. Let me try it like this. I'll put it in the chat. Candy Bly. Let's try this. Channel. She may have already deleted it. Who knows? Oh, TikTok. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. That's what it is. Hold on. You know what annoys the hell out of me is someone posting sympathy photos or someone who keeps a hospital bracelet around their wrist. That's annoying. That's attention. Give me 1 second. Oh, yep. Thank you, Dutch. Money grab, probably. Probably. Live nativity. The tree was beautiful. Thank you to all who worked on that. Oh, she's got a skunk at her door. Isn't that clever? Spray the hell out of her skunk. Yep, Rach. Mm-hmm. Her clothes look unclean like her kid. Yeah. Yep. If you're looking, look at the skunk literally at her steps. Someone said she got a new cat. Is this skunk tame? Okay, there's animal food out here. So it's like she's got some animals, it appears. Um, 1954:22 is the time. This is the day before yesterday. Her shirt's clean there. Yeah, her shirt's clean. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's annoying. It's not annoying. Like, one picture maybe or whatever. You just say, hey, I'm okay or whatever. But hold on, wait a second. Is this a hospital or is this a clinic? It's a hospital, I think. Hold on a second. Wait a second. I need to see something. RSV is nothing to joke about, is what she put. How does it do that? I'm so not good with TikTok. got breathing. That looks like I was thinking it looked like an urgent care too. No, that's a clinic because it looks like the clinic I went to. Yeah, I was thinking it looks like kind of like a walk-in clinic. You know what I mean? I agree, Grimes. I'll teach you TikTok. I just like I got a TikTok now, so but I don't know. All right, y'all. I'll be back in an hour and 20 minutes. We'll be talking about Savannah Sojo and Matthew Guerrero case. Buckle up. Is this picture dated 12/30/23? Yeah. Exactly, Queen. Yep. Leave when I come in. Well, I've been here an hour and 16 minutes. I didn't think I was going to be here that long, to be honest with you, for this. So I love you all. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Does she have a Cash App up? I don't know. Yes, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit that thumbs up so we can get this spread out to the world. Thank you all. Love you.